Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers review this bank holiday Monday, the 5th of May. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Chris Jack, who's got a very different background to what we're normally used to. How's it going, Chris?
I've not had a house renovation. I'm not going for some kind of modern Art Deco look in the office. But, don't worry. No, I'm out and about this morning. Was at, as I said on the show yesterday, was at the PFA do last night. So nice to go and catch up with a few well-kent faces. Also not a lot of Rangers awards on the go, unfortunately. Fingers crossed that will change this time next year. But no, good to get out and about and see a few people. And before I go any further, I promised a friend of the show, Mr. Grado, I promised him a shout out. He came up and had a wee chat last night, so he asked for a shout out. I promised that I would give him say shout out. So the next time I bump into him, he's not gonna batter me.
Superb stuff. Grado's a cracking guy. Big fan of the show as well. So, hopefully you're enjoying your bank holiday, Grado. I'd imagine if it's like many others in the country, it's been spent in bed at this point in time. But we're the true professionals. We're up and at 'em, and to talk all things Rangers. And before we get stuck into the game yesterday and the fallout from that. Quick word for our podcast sponsors, S1 Jobs. If you're looking to hand in your transfer request, head over to S1 Jobs, folks. Upload your CV today. Thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh, and the surrounding areas. You'll find the one at S1 Jobs. We'll get on to more game stuff in a mo. We were on yesterday, of course, after the game for our post-match reaction to the 1-1 draw at Ibrox. Rangers taking the lead through Cyril Dessers, only for Adam Ida to equalise in the second half after a VAR check. But the talk this morning and last night is about events in the stands. Rangers have issued a statement on the tifo before the game, and also the idiot that threw the bucky bottle onto the park as well. And this is what they had to say, Rangers. I'll bring the statement up, which I just have with me. Just bear with me a wee second, folks. I'll get it up. Here we go. So the Rangers spokesperson said, Rangers Football Club condemns the actions of the individual who threw a bottle during today's match. This behaviour has no place at their stadium. Steps have already been taken to identify the person responsible, and the club will take the strongest possible action once their identity is confirmed. We also acknowledge that the tifo displayed prior to kick-off crossed a line and was unacceptable. Our approach to supporter displays has always been built on trust, with the responsibility placed on groups to exercise good judgment. We'll reflect on how these displays are managed and engage with supporter groups to ensure the right balance of trust, responsibility and oversight is maintained moving forward. Rangers is proud of its passionate fan base, and we all share a duty to protect the standards and reputation of our club. Now, it's fair to say that has sparked a bit of an angry reaction from many of the Rangers supporters. And before we touch on the second part of that statement, the first part, absolutely no time for individuals who do this. We spoke after the game at Parkhead, Chris, when the objects were raining down on the Rangers players celebrating Hamza Igeman's winner, and we said that those responsible should be punished. And and I hope Celtic were able to identify those responsible and punish them. I'm not too sure if they were, but I very much hope, and as Rangers state here, that they're well in the process of identifying that individual responsible. We're talking lifetime ban here. I don't understand the thought process that goes into chucking stuff onto the park when a football match is unfolding. I would be handing out the strongest form of punishment to whoever is responsible for that.
As you say, we spoke about it after the Parkhead game. We've spoken about it after previous games at Parkhead. We've spoken about it after previous games at Ibrox. And no matter what the venue, no matter which players have been targeted, no matter what which supporters have thrown it, you just have to condemn it, and you have to question the mindset and the mentality of someone. First, that bottle should not have been inside the stadium, so there's a failure there. But bigger picture, bigger issue, what makes someone decide they're going to throw an object like that onto the field of play to throw it at a player. It's a complete nonsense. And as you say, the strongest possible action should be taken. Rangers fans, they do so much. They put in so much. We've seen it on European tips. We see it every domestic game. They've packed out iBooks every week almost. Spent thousands of pounds going to away games, going to European games to back their team. Unfortunately, you can't control who's going to hitch themselves to your wagon. You can't control who the members of that support are. I can only hope that over time there's a degree of self-policing in that, and there's a degree of people just behaving in a normal manner. You cannot go to a game and throw objects at the players, whether it's a bottle, whether it's a lighter, whether we've seen coins of late. It's not just the Old Firm games that's happened. There's a couple of high-profile incidents through Easter Road. It's happened at other grounds. There's one, Morelos at Fir Park a few years ago that springs to mind as well.
Yeah.
One that does that should be, I say, it's an automatic lifetime ban for me. There's no place for that in Scottish football. And so hopefully Rangers can make a fairly swift progress on that process, and we can try and stamp this kind of behaviour out, because it does the club, does the support, and does Scottish football no good whatsoever.
No, it doesn't. So yeah, I very much hope that whoever is responsible is banned for a long time for life, is what I would be dishing out. But there you go. The second part of that statement then. Now, the tifo, it was Graham Souness holding a shotgun. I posted an image of me wearing a T-shirt of that image on it back about 20 odd years ago. I noticed as soon as the players came out, I noticed that Souness image. It was from the 1982 World Cup. Some promo shots of Graham Souness, and with the banner underneath it, which read "Take aim at the rebel scum." Which a lot of people are, people that hate Rangers are up in arms about that message. And of course, it was May the 4th yesterday, which is Star Wars Day. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I have watched the movies, but it is a line from the Star Wars franchise. And when I wasn't totally aware of that to begin with, but I was soon made aware that it was a line from Star Wars, and you think, oh, that's pretty good line, if you like, because it references Star Wars Day, but it has caused a bit of a stooshy, Chris, and Rangers, as I touched on there in their statement, saying it is unacceptable. Where do we go with this one? I personally am offended by it. I touched on there, I think people who are just have a disdain for Rangers, and they're looking for something to have a go at the club with. But the fact that the club find it unacceptable shows that they're not happy with this. What's your thoughts on it?
On the Star Wars reference, it went over my head. I have never watched any of it. I have not seen any of the movies. I could not tell you a single line from it. So that part of it I didn't quite get until it was explained to me by a couple of the boys on the gantry that are more of a fans of the franchise than I am. The statement has not gone down well. We tweeted it. We had it on the website last night. Had it on socials. The reaction to it, it's not been good. I'm sure the club would have known that. I think they would have known. They would have been able to read the room enough and be able to know that type of statement is not going to go down well. It'd be interesting to know what line they believe has been crossed. Now, where is that particular line going forward, going into next season? There's going to be more displays. There's also that section, as far as we know, as far as we understand, it will still be there. They will have to make that line very, very clear, because I think a lot of people are asking, well, where is that particular line? Now, we know there's a lot going on off the pitch. New owners and new directors will have a different view of Rangers fan culture or British football fan culture. They will have different degrees of what's acceptable and what they want to see in their stadium. That's fine. they're ultimately going to be the guys that are going to be calling the shots. But I think they have to, if they're saying the line has been crossed, I think they have to make it very, very clear where that particular line is. The image of Souness is a fairly well-known and fairly famous picture. I think, as you said there, it's been on T-shirts. You see it on Twitter every so often. It's a fairly well-known image. I think if the Union Bears hadn't put the banner out below it with the message on it, they probably get away with it. I think they're being clever with it. They know what they're trying to do with it. I think if they don't do that, there's no real issue, and there's nothing then for people to get too upset about. But it was there. People have got upset about it, and Rangers fans have certainly got upset about it as well. So, interested to see how this unfolds.
Yeah, I'll address this before we move on. CGM 55, you have both gone down massively in my estimations. Never seen Star Wars. I have seen Star Wars, buddy. I've seen them all. I didn't mind the first three, the old three, the original Star Wars trilogy. The ones after that, forgettable. But we need to get Johnny on, have a chat about Star Wars. But that line, someone had to mention it to me. Mention it to me pretty quickly as the sun just bears down in my window here. But yeah, like you say, Chris, I would like the club to come out and indicate exactly what they find unacceptable with it. Was it the slogan beneath the Souness image, or was it Souness himself? I would like to know what the club find unacceptable. I would be wary about, the club and the Union Bears have a bit of frosty relationship already, of course, a few run-ins already this season. And I'm just slightly concerned. I really like some of the tifos that the Union Bears make up. Like I say, I had no issue with that yesterday, although the Rangers obviously do. I don't want to go down a road where we're getting Arsenal club-led tifos like we seen the other night in their Champions League match, which was horrendous.
No, as you say, it has been. I think it's been a difficult season for relations between the Union Bears and the club. It's not been the smoothest of campaigns. I think if you look at the move overall, it's probably not had the desired effect. The atmosphere has been good at times, but I think if you look at the wider joining in, if you like, of the other guys and girls that sit in that stand, the atmosphere and the songs seem to spread more through the Broom Loan than they have done through the Copeland over the course of the season. I'm not sure there's been that much of a external buy-in outside of the official Union Bears section, so that is always going to take time. There's always going to be kind of teething issues there, but some of the songs, some of the banners, they have attracted attention for all the wrong reasons. I think some of the criticism has been fair, and some of it has not been fair. But over the course of the summer, so I think it's probably a chance with a new board, a new ownership. It probably is a chance for a bit of a reset. Everyone has to over each other stand, and it's interesting to see how that relationship really unfolds. It feels like we're almost at a make or break point.
Yep. Gaz with the point quite rightly says it all went downhill with Jar Jar Binks. As soon as he made an appearance, then I was out with regards to Star Wars. But as Hugh says, can we speak about the actual football? Yes, let's move on, Hugh, quite rightly. I wonder if we'll be talking about the tifo for the days on end, a la Watergate, as Václav Černý Skushgate. That was carried on for a number of weeks after the last Old Firm game. But let's hope we can talk about the football, because that sort of stuff tires me, is tiresome stuff. The football, we touched on it yesterday, Chris, a bit of a damp squib with regards to usual Old Firm encounters. A 1-1 draw in the end. Rangers perhaps fortunate to come away with a point in the end after a bit of a howler right at the death. Liam Kelly did well to deny Dyes and Maida. Over the piece. Rangers at times, I thought that they competed well. Barry touched on this in his post-match press conference. It's what he wants to see in the Rangers side. We touched on the show yesterday as well. That home record is very poor. It's now 7 without a win. That's never been achieved before. Achieved maybe not the wrong word there. Yeah, I think we all just want this season to end as quickly as possible.
That was the main positive for me last night. The fact that we're 90 minutes closer to this campaign being done and dusted. Lost a couple of games at Ibrox to come up against Aberdeen and Dundee United with the midweek, and we then have Easter Road, and final whistle goes. We can move on, forget all about it, never speak of it again, and look ahead to takeover, manager signings, and exciting times to come. It was an instantly forgettable Old Firm game. It didn't have that Old Firm feel about it. There was no real edge to it. I thought first half Rangers were fine, played quite well. Probably should have scored. Should have scored inside the first minute actually with a Balogun header. I think the Dessers goal, which he takes really well. Nice move from Diomande, McCherney, a nice dummy. And Dessers, you have to give him a lot of credit for the way that he holds off his marker. That's a really good finish. Second half, they didn't kick on from that. They didn't capitalise on the lead. Now you talk about scoring goals at a good time. Rangers scored a goal at a really good time, certainly in an Old Firm's end, and just couldn't capitalise on it. Celtic get their goal. It's really poor defending. You have to clear your lines better. You have to be better than that in any game, never mind in an Old Firm game. And after that, it kind of died down a wee bit. Subs being made and interrupted the flow of it a wee bit. Rangers perhaps get away with it in the last minute, as you say. But Liam Kelly makes a good save. I think he deserves a bit of credit because that was a really good save. Maeda was really, really dangerous in those situations. And he made a good save from Adam Ida earlier in the game in the first half as well when he was clean through. So I think he can be pleased with his performance. I thought the midfield were good. Nico Raskin again being, as Neil says there, stealing my thunder, Neil. But I thought Raskin was good. As Neil says there, I thought Diomande and Barham were good as well. But you're looking at that team, you're looking at the squad, and you're thinking how many of these guys are going to be here this time next season. That's before you even touch on the manager situation.
Yep, and we'll touch on Barry shortly. Some interesting points coming in. Interestingly, on the game, Ali McCoist has been speaking on Talk Sport this morning. He says, I was embarrassed about the game, and by the way, the two boys who got booked were teenagers. They were substitutes who came on. The older generation, that's the biggest embarrassment of Old Firm Day. Of course, Bailey Rice and Johnny Kenny of Celtic were booked. In fact, it was Barry Ferguson who got the first yellow of the game yesterday for becoming a bit irate at a Nick Walsh decision that went against Rangers. But usually you get a yellow pretty early on in these fixtures, but that wasn't the case yesterday. Just on Barry, there was a point that came, well, first of all, Rangers on Tour says if Balogun scored from the corner, we should have ran over them. The second half was a shambles. Balogun has to score there. That is a glaring opportunity right at the start of the game. Free header, has to head it downwards, and Rangers should have been one up there, Chris.
And if they do go one up, it's a very different afternoon. The crowd, even the crowd, I didn't think yesterday was really into it. It didn't really feel like an Old Firm atmosphere. If that one goes inside the first few seconds, that then really gets everyone going, and it could potentially go on and be a very, very different outcome. I thought Balogun overall was really impressive. We're actually speaking about him post-match in the media room while we're waiting on the managers and the players coming in. It's a shame that his age is what it is, but interesting. Does he still have a place in this squad for next season? I think we touched on this centre halves a couple of weeks ago. There will have to be investment in that area. Rangers clearly. They can't go into next season with Rafa Fernandez and Robin Proper as options. And Ciala, who knows, will he maybe benefit from a loan rather than being a squad player at Rangers. I think Suter will remain and probably be one of your starters. Who plays alongside him? Who's the guy that you're going to pin your hopes on? If Balogun was able to play 50 games a season, it would be priceless to Rangers. You can't expect him to. You can't ask him to. But I do wonder if you said to him, you'll be fourth choice, you'll maybe play 20 games over the course of a season, you'll just be the guy that we call upon. I wonder if he would. I think he would probably take that. I think he would sign on the dotted line, and it says a lot about the other options that every time Leon is injured, fans want him back as quickly as possible. he comes back and he goes straight back into the team. It just shows how important he still is to this squad.
Yeah, we seem to be having the same chat about Balogun every year, saying if he's happy being fourth choice and just playing when asked, then give him another year. I'd be giving him another year. I think he's a great guy to have around. Very dependable in these fixtures as well. I think no surprise to see him drafted back in and start the game yesterday. I thought he was excellent defensively. And not only that, I think he's a good club man as well. I think behind the scenes, he's one of these guys that you want in your dressing room, you want in the trenches, and I would certainly be offering him a further year. He's 37 in June, pardon me. Not getting any younger, but he looks after himself. He can't play, of course, 2 games in a week, but I think he's someone that can come in and play matches when called upon, big matches as well, as I touched on there. Very dependable and very rarely lets you down. So I would be offering him. I don't think it would break the bank either. He would be one of what I would be looking at 4 centre-halves next season. Clinton Enciala would be another one. Whether John Souttar is one is a big question, Chris, because of course he's yet to sign that new deal. And then if you're taking those 2, maybe Souttar, if Souttar leaves, need to bring in 2. If he doesn't leave, do you just need 1 centre-back in the summer, do you reckon?
It's an area I think we could see quite a lot of movement, or potentially just 1 coming in. It really depends on how Kevin Thelwell sees it, how the manager sees it. Now, do they fancy John Souttar? Do they think that he's a regular starter? I think the other options, as we mentioned there, you can all but write them off. Proper is not going to be a Rangers defender. Fernandes is not going to be a Rangers defender. Enciala, I think, could be a Rangers defender, but he needs to play games. Well, if you go and sign a centre half, you spend a couple of £1 million on him, you make him a fairly decent earner. Is Enciala then going to get the game time that he needs to improve and to come on? Seen quite a lot of chat about John Souttar over the last
he's not been his best
after the game. For me, I think he's fine. I think he could be a starter as long as he's got a really accomplished centre half alongside him. But if 2 centre halves were to come in and he was then had to fight for one of those places, I don't think that would be unfair. So over the course of the season, I think he's been fairly steady, he's played a lot of games, which is good. But every area of this side is up for grabs. Every player in this team is fighting for their future. Some will already know that their futures lie elsewhere. Other ones, they've got a lot of work to do if they want to be here next season. But I don't think there's anyone in the squad that you say is definitely going to be here for one reason or the other, whether not good enough in the contract, an asset that has to be cashed in on. I don't think there's anyone in that group you can say they'll definitely be here come the first day of pre-season, which is maybe 7 weeks or so away.
No, I'll be here before we know it. Nevitz sort of sums it up. Totally agree with this. He says full new defence, including keeper required. Goalkeeper, right back, left back, 2 centre backs. Midfielders have been okay, but another 6 to help Raskin and Barron. New right wing, left wing, plus 2 new strikers and 1 sell duffer. So full team length. Yeah, full team is what Rangers require. I think I've said in a previous video, I counted them all up and I was thinking Rangers might need 11 players coming in here and at least 7 proper starters to come in and improve that team. I think definitely need a goalkeeper, Chris, and can't disagree with much of that. The forward line needs major surgery as well.
Every area of this side needs improvement because this squad has shown over the course of the season it's just not good enough for domestic football. It's done well in European terms. You can't take that away from them, but Rangers have to win domestic silverware. They have to win in the Premiership title, and too many of these players are not up for that challenge. There's an interesting interview with Cyril Dessers coming on the site at 12 o'clock. So I would urge people to check that out on the site or on the YouTube channel, where he discusses his future, discusses Barry Ferguson's future, and discusses his form and what has been a fairly up and down 2 seasons. I think it's safe to say. But I thought he spoke really interestingly after the game yesterday. So I say people can check that out in a couple of hours.
Yep, we've spoke about Dessers at length on videos before. You know where I stand on it. If Rangers get a decent offer for him, I'd shake his hand and wish him well. If they don't, I wouldn't be chasing them out the door. But Rangers do need an improvement in the striking department. I'd be looking to bring in probably 2 strikers. Jury's out, of course, on Danilo. Touched on him yesterday as well. He's reaching a crossroads. He'll be frustrated. He is frustrated. He'll want to play games. Will he get games at Rangers? I'm not too sure. Hamza Igaman is there. He'll be here next season unless Rangers get a mega bucks offer. Still think they need probably a couple of strikers, guys that you can rely on, hang your hat on, getting you goals in the Scottish Premiership. So, and they often don't come cheap as well. I know Johnny has been banging the drum for Rangers to go and get Lawrence Shankland, which would not cost a barrow load, given that he's out of contract. And there are others there, I think, that Rangers could look to bring in. Know their way about the Scottish Premiership, but I think you still want to see a really good quality striker coming in the summer. Lots of comments coming in. We touched on that. World's greatest DJ says we take Jamie Vardy, Derek. We touched on him last week. I think you were on with me, Chris, I think, when he announced that he was leaving Leicester City. A guy of that ilk, no issue with that. I think someone that would sort of fall into the Jermaine Defoe category. Someone, a predator in front of goals, someone like that. If Rangers could strike a deal with Jamie Vardy, I would not be opposed to that. I mentioned Lawrence Shankland. Do you think there's a requirement of Rangers to have someone like that, a poacher, a real killer instinct in front of goal, Chris?
I think Jermaine Defoe's the one that we always come back to when we're having this conversation. It's not a guy that you're going to play week after week. It's not a guy you're going to try and get 50 games a season out of, but you know that you will get a decent number of goals out of him. You think back to those times when Defoe was here. That's a 55 season had such a big part to play in it. Not as the leading man, but as a guy who is such a valuable support, both on the pitch in terms of coming in and playing games and scoring goals, but a valuable guy to have round about the club and to have round about a dressing room. So I think Rangers will have to sort who their starting number 9 is going to be first. For me, it should be Igaman. I think he deserves that. I think he deserves that crack at it. I think there's still a lot of improvement to come from him. You're only going to get that improvement if he's playing regularly and playing in his best position. So I think he gets nod as number 9. Those 2-3 slots after that, they're a bit more difficult to nail down. What happens with Danilo? What happens with Dessers? Once you've got those 2 questions answered, then you know what profiles you're after for the other one. But certainly, someone like Defoe to come in and do that supporting role would certainly be good for the squad, I think. But when it comes to Jamie Vardy and comes to other guys of that, if you're signing Premier League players come with Premier League wages, and I'm sure Jamie Vardy's not going to be short of offers down south. Saw Sky reporting last week it didn't fancy playing in the same league as Leicester. That's understandable, so I think we can probably rule that one out. I think he could still do a job in the Premier League as a number 3 striker, and a number 3 striker for a Premier League team is getting more money than a number 3 striker up here. So that particular story and that rumour, it will still keep bubbling on over the course of summer, no doubt. But I say Jamie Vardy will not be short of offers.
He said it himself. He wants to play in the Premier League, but if he came up to Rangers, he'd be number 1 striker. If he keeps him, I mean, he's looked after himself. That's why he's still playing at a top level at the age he is because, late to the game as well. Played non-league a lot. It's pretty much a fairy tale story, Jamie Vardy, and as the kids call it these days, a proper Barclays man. He is certainly that, and I would not be opposed to seeing Jamie Vardy at Rangers, but probably unlikely. But top player, there's no doubt about that. Headkeeper says get Josh Campbell and Lennon Miller in. Lennon Miller scooped the Young Player of the Year award last night, Chris. I think well deserved. You said in the show Ibrox last night that you expected him to scoop that prize. The first Motherwell player to win that honour since James McFadden back in 2003, and no complaints there. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him in the summer. Motherwell will be very fortunate if they can hold on to him.
I think they've all but given up that particular hope, and it's the time it makes sense for Lennon to move on and go and see where his career can take him. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's had a great season. He's a really impressive rise. Played a lot of football for a young man, and played a lot of really impressive football for a young man as well. So I don't think it was a surprise at all that he got the vote from his peers last night. The football writers dinner is in a couple of weeks. He'll be in the running for that one as well. So he could end the season with a couple of individual awards. Very well deserved for his efforts over the course of the campaign. But I'd like to see him at Rangers. Definitely, I think he's the type of guy that could come into this Rangers side and make a real impression. But again, speak of players that are not going to be short of offers. That's the same with Lennon Miller, and time will tell where he ends up. Does he think that he wants to go to bright lights, the Premier League? Does he look at some of the success that other Scottish guys have had, certainly going to Serie A of late? That could be a really interesting move for him as well. So I certainly wish him all the best, because we like to see young Scottish players coming through. Better for the national team. Now, the better he does, the better that hopefully bodes for the national team as well. So I think he's going to have a really bright career ahead of him. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll see him in a Rangers jersey.
Yeah, thought he could be heading abroad as well. The Italians have taken a liking to Scottish talent, so it would be no surprise to see him heading over there. We'll wrap up with this, gone rogue with a point, Chris, since you're on. Is what we're thinking takeover news this week? We expecting any takeover developments over the course of the week, do you reckon?
Short answer to that one is no. We are still. I'm just waiting for the Grim Reaper stuff to be thrown at me on Twitter for the rest of the day now. But no,
you get that in a tifo.
There is. You might have it in a t-shirt one day.
Yeah.
There's no takeover news expected this week or next week or for several weeks yet. As we've repeatedly said over the course of this story, the process has been worked through. The paperwork is being passed back and forward. Bits of it are being signed and bits of it are being completed. It will get done when it gets done. But I think, as we've seen with the appointment of Kevin Fell, well, as we know with the appointment of the manager, Rangers are not just in this state of flux and nothing is happening because every bit of paper has not been signed. Andrew Kavanagh and the 49ers clearly having a major influence in how Rangers are being run and how big decisions are being made right now. So we're almost in this phase of they're not quite in control, but they're having a say. At some point, it will all be signed off. You will get the official statement. You will get the tweet from us. Hopefully we'll have it first to say that it has all been done and has been signed off. But if MD says, or you get a WhatsApp to say there'll be a press conference this week to announce it, it's not the case. We are still a long way out from that.
Yep, right, folks, we'll wrap up there. Big thank you to Chris, as ever, and thank you to you all for tuning in on this Bank Holiday Monday. Whatever you are doing, then enjoy it, have fun. I think we're heading out to a park and a pub or a pub lunch later, weather permitting. So hopefully the sun stays out. You up to anything of note today, Chris?
I've still got a bit of work to do before I head back out from town. So I'll give you the afternoon off. Josh is still off today. He's back from his holidays later on. So I'm the lone ranger for this afternoon. So if the club could keep it quiet and not put out any statements or anything happen, that'd be smashing.
Yes, excellent stuff. As Singing the Blues says, trust the force. We'll wrap up there. Thanks again. Enjoy your Monday, folks, and we'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.